The Courtaulds built this formal garden in Eltham Palace's old moat. The guidebook tells us that there's little of the old building left, but that's not strictly true, for fragments of the wall of Henry VIII's childhood home remain frozen in the ruins, evidence of how the palace once looked. But they also provide a contrasting backdrop, a red foil to the greenery of the modern garden.
Old walls offer us historic evidence if we learn to read them. Some walls are listed as being of historic significance and should never be rebuilt, destroyed, or even tampered with without very good reason, and even then only after detailed recording and analysis. The philosophy of wall repair is a battleground in the conservation world. Here are two controversial examples. The first is Montacute, one of Britain's greatest Elizabethan houses. William Morris's Society for the Protection of Ancient Buildings, the SPAB, have developed a guide to repairs to old buildings. Here, one tenet of their manifesto is applied to the treatment of a missing stone. The hole is filled with modern tiles, and not stone, thus emphasizing a clear distinction between old and new. The second example, the Parthenon, is an A-list architectural wonder. It being rebuilt at present, some say, in a manner that falsifies history. A rule is applied here that there is to be absolutely no loss of original stone fabric. This has forced the rebuilders into honing the back of the new stones to precisely fit the irregular old ones, in whatever state they find them. The new stone is pinned to the old with titanium, a really modern method of construction. Both these philosophies can produce some very peculiar results. My first experience of stone conservation began when I was a student in the office of Alban Carrow, working on Wells Cathedral. The walls were photographed and corrected into scale drawings, whilst the archaeologists studied the history through records and documents. The architects, that's us, identified the repairs. Each colour on the drawing is an indication of a different treatment for the walls: lime poulticing, replacement of old for new, or mortar repair, which must be weaker than the stone below it. Decayed stone or brick can contribute greatly to the patina of age, so shouldn't be removed as a matter of course or for appearances only. It's important to appreciate the difference between restoration and conservation, of repair and renewal. This project shows how the interest can be improved even with only fragments of the original wall remaining. This church is St. Paul in Homerton, where we were charged to keep every fragment of the listed walls. New handmade bricks are a good match in size and colour for the original. It's obvious which are the new bricks and which are the old, but the pointing ties it all together.
The quality of the results depends very much on the skill of the builder. The mortar colour is really important too, but most critically, the mortar must be softer than the brick or stone, otherwise the stone will deteriorate, leaving a mortar honeycomb.
These walls had to be removed and then replaced exactly where they came from, so that a road tunnel could be built underneath it by the cut and cover method. Levels were measured with a theodolite and then photographed. Here, the face of a precious 18th century cave wall was removed so that a road bridge could be built over it. Each individual stone on the face was numbered and its location measured so that it could go back again exactly in its original position. This is a beautiful drawing that mason Bill Dare did for our contractor's Mott Graves at Ingress Abbey, where we had to restore a very heavily damaged stone orangery. We've identified the stone that can stay and only removed it if the structural integrity is threatened, or if embedded ivy roots or trees can't be killed off. The most gratifying part of our work is to see a building change from a ruin that's really hard to imagine ever being used again. Careful monitoring of the building process will spare stones that are sound and will look well in a finished building with another 100 years or 200 years of life.